रेणुका आपको मोबाइल आप हॉरिजॉन्टल करिए.
हाँ. Is it okay, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, should I start?
No, no, wait.
Okay.
बोलिए. अभी जो है ना, पहले जो है ना 11वीं के जो है ना पूरा क्लियर.
Thank you for the photo. आप उसको आगे बढ़ाते रहो. Renuka, you can start now.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Navin sir, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Roy from Department of English. By Dr. Navin, in which he his own poem allows Dr. Navin.
Renuka, there is some issue with your voice, I suppose. There is some issue with your audio.
Is it audible?
Yeah, now it's okay. Can you start again? Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Roy from S.K.Navin College, Sanity. I welcome you all.
Still there is a problem in your voice. There is audio problem.
Is it not audible, sir? If I hold this like this, hold my mobile like this.
Fine.
Yes. All right.
Then the voice is more clear.
Yes.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Today's session will be held by Dr. Sunil Kumar Navin sir. He is the poet of this poem. And before we start, let me give a short introduction of Dr. Navin. Dr. Sunil Kumar Navin is principal, Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Kachur. Nabira Mahavidyalaya is one of the renowned institutes of learning in Kachur, and sir is handling the responsibility of a principal with great ability here. Sir is basically from Bihar. He was born in Kadharia, Bihar. Sir has received his doctorate in English from Nagpur University. He is a devoted academician and researcher. Under his able supervision, 13 research scholars have received doctoral degree from Nagpur University. He was conferred the Best Teacher Award in the university in 2016. He has completed 2 UGC-funded minor research projects and 1 major research project. Besides this, He has presented a good number of research papers in national and international seminars, conferences, and journals. It shows learned, his love for learning and academic research. Apart from this, Sir is a creative writer. Now, Dr. Navin has published two collections of poems, I Will Ride My Cycle and A Child's Prayer. He has published a collection of short stories, Closed Doors and A Bend in Marriage. This book, A Bend in Marriage, is in office. It will soon come. He has translated a Hindi play into English. A God Becomes a Stone. His stories and poems are studied in various courses of RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur. He has to his credit a book edited by himself titled Multiplexity of Post-Colonialism. He was the chairman Board of Studies in Languages and has been executive committee member of Association of English Studies in India. Student friends, it will be of great interest to you to learn that the poem that you are studying today, Allow Sanity a Little Space, is penned by Dr. Navin himself. So this poem is a wonderful depiction of his liberal attitude and feeling towards religion, adherence of religion in a secular country like India. In this poem, he has beautifully conveyed the message of tolerance and a liberal attitude in observance of religion and religious adherence. Sir has expressed his disagreement for religious fanaticism in a huge country like India. So without testing much of your patience, may I now hand over this session to Dr. Navin and request him to guide our students and facilitate their learning in this session. Thank you, sir. I hand over the mic to you. Over to Dr. Navin.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka Madam. It really gives me joy profound. But before I begin, I would like to ask Dr. Karthik, am I perfectly audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I thank Dr. Renuka Roy, Madam, for introducing me so nicely. And it really gives me immense joy profound, to share with you all that organizing a collaborative venture with the help of 5 colleges, roping in 5 colleges is really a difficult task. And entire credit I would like to give to Dr. Karthik Panikal. He got his team and he roped to all 5 colleges, J.M. Patil College of Bhandara, Shivaji Science College, Nagpur, Porval College, Kamchi, Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Katol, and one more college is there. Well,
Dharampet Science College.
Dharampet MP Dev Memorial Science College, Nagpur. I sincerely thank Dr. Panikal, Head Department of English, and Chairman Board of Languages in Science, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, who conceived this plan and brought it to its fruition. I know him very well. I know his potential. He can move mountains. Well, it was he who brought a proposal that my college too should join this collaborative venture. And did I have any choice? I didn't have any choice. I readily agreed, and you have this collaborative venture going on. Well, allow sanity a little space, a poem that I composed long back, and it was one of the pieces, you see, it is one of the pieces of the second volume. I presented both volumes to Dr. Panikal just to see whether any of the poems is worthwhile for your consideration and selection for the anthology. Okay. And he chose this poem, you see, for B.Sc, IT, B.Sc students and BCA. I have words of high commendation and gratefulness as well for Dr. Panikal. On this occasion, I would like to thank Dr. Sanjay Dudhe Sahab, Pro Vice Chancellor, who formally inaugurated this collaborative venture. I profoundly thank Dr. Dhomne, the Principal, J.M. Patel College, Bhandara, Dr. Peshwe, Principal, Dharampet MP Dev Memorial College of Science, Nagpur, Dr. Bagde, Principal, Korwal College, Dr. Dhore, MP, Dr. MP Dhore, Principal, Shivaji Science College, Nagpur. These are all leading colleges. Well, I would like to congratulate all resource persons who have come together and they have given their consent to be useful and helpful for B.Sc students. Dr. Renuka Roy, Dr. Bansod, and Dr. Shraddha Deshpande, the organizing secretaries, they have doing a very great work. It gives me a great delight. Friends, allow sanity a little space. What prompted me to write, what prompted me to compose this poem? I would like to tell you about the genesis, you know. And if you understand the reasons, if you understand what went into the composition of this poem, Allow Sanity a Little Space, then it won't be difficult at all for you to understand the poem. Well, the very word sanity, it means reasonableness, sound mental condition, normal condition, and to have a discriminating sense, to discriminate between what is good, what is bad. Well, I feel, and I have reasons to feel, that all individuals, they are blessed with, they are gifted with this discriminating sense to make a difference between right and wrong, good and evil. And as a person, as we are all social human beings, we must be aware what we should go by, what we should follow in our life, and what things we should discard. Well, what we observe in everyday life, and humanity as a whole observes, you see, the worldwide. If you read newspapers, if you watch television news, you find that violence is there, crime is there, reports of rape, brutality, cruelty, insane behavior, unreasonableness, widespread, you see, in our society, world over. Let me tell you that Roman occupation of England in first 4 centuries, you might not be knowing, most of the students might not be knowing this, that Romans occupied England, and the kind of cruelty that they did, brutality that the natives of the place what you call England, they had to face, that was tremendous, you know. Merciless, ruthless, mercilessly and ruthlessly, the natives, the Celtic people, they were killed at the hands of the Romans. And finally, they occupied, they became, I mean, Romans became the emperor, I mean, should I say the emperors. When you read a poem like, say, The Solitary Reaper, Wordsworth has written, will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far-off things and battles long ago. Well, the girl, you see, while reaping the crop, she is singing. She is a Highland lass, a Scottish girl, you know. And Wordsworth didn't understand the language. He simply guesses. And then he writes, will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers. Well, if you listen to a song, you get the import whether it is a tragic song or a song of joy. From the musicality, you know, the musical appeal of the song, you get the import of the song. And the girl was singing perhaps for old, unhappy, far-off things and battles fought long ago. Those battles, you know, perhaps the Romans, they were so merciless and so ruthless, so brutal, so cruel. And as a result, you know what we have? Only 14 Celtic words are there in the English language. Roman influence, Greek influence, French influence, Scandinavian influence, influences of various, you see, countries, nations on the English language. So original Celtic words, they are only 14. What I want to drive at is that worldwide acts of violence, were they not human beings, the Celtic people? Only the Romans had the privilege to occupy, to rule. Well, Celtic people could have been allowed you so, but they were not allowed. They were killed brutally. Ruthless killing took place then. And what we are observing, you see, the acts of terrorism across the world, bombing cities, well, on flourishing cities, you know, with people living everyday life, they are targeted for no fault of theirs. And the bombing of the cities, leave the cities deserted. And there you have a kind of silence that you find in a graveyard. Graveyard silence. You have numerous examples. Iraq-Iran war. Well, the condition of Sham that you find, Yemen, Syria, and the role of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Well, they do belong to a particular religion. And no religion, you will agree, teaches you to be violent. No religion teaches you to be cruel, to be ruthless, to be insane, to be unkind. And we have fought 2 world wars. The colossal loss of life and property. That was the result of the 2 world wars. We have fought. The world has fought. And why to think of 2 world wars? Well, during 1946-47 of our own Indian subcontinent, the Indian subcontinent was divided between India and Pakistan. On 14th, Pakistan got freedom, and on 15th, we celebrate Independence Day. Millions of people, you know. Earlier, before partition, we lived together. And we had a common culture, should I say. What we know as the Indian culture. What you know as Indian culture. But because of mean politics, Jinnah was misguided. Jinnah was, you see, he was provoked to get the share for the Muslims in the form of a separate state. Well, in 1946, well before partition, for 3 consecutive days, well, Calcutta was burning, People were burned alive. Houses were set on blaze. Muslims and Hindus, they confronted together and they followed their faiths, their religions. What I mean to say is that our world is not short of religions. Religions which always teach you to be good, to be kind, to be tolerant, to be compassionate. All religions teach you to love, not hate. Not hate a person who differs from your faith. Well, so in 1946, Muhammad Ali Jinnah gave a call for direct action. And Hindus, they were targeted, innocent Hindus. They were targeted. They were mutilated. They were ruthlessly killed. And in what name? In the name of religion. In the name of religion, so that their demand should be fulfilled by the Britishers, that they should get a separate state, Pakistan. Well, they started direct action against Hindus. As a retaliation, the Muslims too were made victims of violence. I don't disagree. But all these things were done in the name of religion, in the name of faith. Faith which does not teach you at all to be unkind, to be merciless. Okay? Well, partition took place and millions of people got exterminated. They were rendered homeless. Normally, no person wants to leave his home, his land, but they were forced to leave, to desert their homeland. Millions of people in the process, you see, people living on the western side had to come eastward, and Muslims living in eastern Punjab, they were forced to go westward. Now, Pakistan, that you know. Well, trains, trains, Khushwant Singh has written a very beautiful novel, Train to Pakistan. And in actuality, if you read the stories of partition, you will come to find that trains were coming, you see, with bodies, loaded with bodies, mutilated bodies, deformed bodies, people who were killed in the train. A good number of religions abound our world we live in. Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and others, Very recently, you might have read in the newspapers acts of violence against Rohingya Muslims. I mean, Muslim countries like Pakistan or say Bangladesh, they were not ready to accept them. Well, and what Chinese are doing with Uyghur Muslims? Well, all these things. I need not tell you. Religions which teach us love, fraternity, compassion, tolerance, wisdom, sanity, non-violence. Religions which teach us to respect those who differ in their faiths. Well, and our world, after a lot of development in science and technology, we have sophisticated weapons of war. And these weapons of war have not ensured our world any peace. Well, to have weapons of war is not something which is constructive. Well, weapons of war can only kill and destroy. Well, in this backdrop, I would like to take up the poem, Allow Sanity a Little Space. Earlier, when we were not civilized, perhaps we could have acquitted ourselves. When we were not civilized, not educated, well, we can acquit ourselves. We can forgive ourselves that we did become violent because we were not civilized and we were not properly educated. But what about now? We have education with us, and our world can boast of several religions which we have. Now, if we are the same lot, with same, unkind attitude, insane behavior, we cannot acquit ourselves. We cannot forgive ourselves. My proposition is that sanity, reasonableness should be allowed by us. Who will allow? We ourselves will allow reasonableness, and then only we can think of a better world. A world we can boast of that, yes, we live in a sane world, good world, where moral standards, they are respected by us. A couple of years back, you see, I think a couple of years back only, I mean, Muslims in a mosque, they were praying, and that mosque was bombarded. The mosque was, people still in prayers, you know, they were bombarded and they were killed. The school was, you see, bombarded. Sometimes I remain to stupefy. I remain to wonder what kind of world, what kind of society we are living in. Is this the society that we have met with our education, with our civilization, with so many religions? So this is what I have humbly presented, you see, in this piece. Allow sanity a little space. These are the things at the root which have gone into the making of this poem. Let me read out the first stanza. Isn't it sad to see we haven't buzzed an inch ahead from the mire of yesteryear's pool of hatred and revenge? Even after centuries of education and fortified with our religion and civilization. Sorry. Well, I mean, if we were brutes, if we were uncivilized once upon a time, you see, then it can be understood. Well, we did not have much education. We were not civilized. We lived in forests. We were like animals, you know. Well, fine. You can forgive yourself. But now, after centuries of education and fortified with, I mean, as I told you, that we have so many religions, you see, in the world. And now we claim that we are the most civilized animals, civilized people. We are the crown of creation. But have we gone a step ahead? Is the question mark. Well, the first stanza ends with a question mark. Isn't it sad? It is really very pitiable, you see, that we have not gone an inch ahead, an inch forward from yesteryears, from past years. We still hate. We still take revenge. Though centuries of education we have so many religions in the world we follow, and we are civilized people. Man is the crown of creation, we say. But I doubt, you see, that our system of education, our religions, they have helped us to make us better people. This is what I have to say in the very first stand. Well, the second stanza have we on any other account shed more blood than in the name of religion that so greatly abounds our world and teaches us, love thy neighbor as thyself and ahimsa parmo dharma. Love thy neighbor as thyself is taken from the Holy Bible. The Bible teaches you, Christianity teaches you that wherever you are, either at home or in schools or colleges or in your workplaces, and whoever are beside you, they are your neighbors. There is one thing you see, everybody wants to be loved and respected. And nobody, you see, wants to be humiliated. Nobody wants to be condemned. Nobody wants to be hated. You do not want to be hated. You do not want to be condemned. You do not want to be dishonored. Then you should also not hate others. You should also not condemn others. And if you cannot love, E.M. Forster says that, love is a private matter. But in public places, at least you can tolerate. Nobody has given you a license, you see, to kill a person who you do not love. Isn't it? Maybe a person you may not like, but you have no right to kill that person. The Almighty has granted you the same air, the same earth, the same water to consume. Well, others have also the same privileges, you see, to enjoy the bounties of nature God has gifted with. So have we on any other account shed more blood than in the name of religion that so greatly abounds our world and teaches love thy neighbor as thyself and ahimsa parmo dharma? Our Vedas, our Upanishads, Buddhism, Sanatan Dharma, they teach us what? Don't do violence. Even at the level of your mind, if you think of harming someone, is hinsa, is violence. So we are not allowed even to think, to be violent. But in the name of religion, we have said, humanity has shed more blood than in any other name. Our weapons of war haven't ensured any peace, or rather proliferated our aims, our anger, our cruelty, and our sense of insecurity. In today's world, we have atom bombs, we have hydrogen bombs, we have so many varieties of nuclear bombs, and even biological bombs, coronavirus we are all suffering from. So these are, I mean, these are the weapons of war, but these weapons of war have not ensured any peace. Rather, they have proliferated, multiplied our anger, our cruelty, and our sense of insecurity. Continue we to stain our hands given to work and produce in honor and dignity with blood of our brethren, with whom we consume the same sun and the air and the water. Well, God has granted us two hands, gifted us two hands to work, to produce in honor and dignity. But what we do with these hands? We shed blood of our brothers and sisters. And those brothers and sisters with whom we consume the same sun, the air, the water, God has not discriminated in granting bounties of nature. God has created this world, God has created this universe, and God has gifted us bounties of nature. Without sun, we cannot survive. No form of life can survive. Without water, no form of life can survive. And without air, well, during the pandemic condition, during the pandemic situation, thousands of people died because they could not get oxygen at proper time. But God has given us oxygen, free of cost, no charge, no paisa you require. So God, who has granted us two hands to work and produce, to do meaningful things, to do honorable things, and we can feel dignified. But what we do and for what we use our hands, well, we use our hands to kill, to shed blood, you see, of our own brothers and sisters. Well, we set houses on blaze with their inmates, perhaps still in sweet dreams. We claw modesty of our women and ruthlessly rape and fill their wombs with warm seeds, not in love, but in hatred and hate. Well, followers of one religion, they hate, you see, the followers of other religions. And the easiest target they search or they find is the women folk, They claw the modesty of our women. Women belonging to different faiths. And we feel so proud, and that we do, you see, in the name of religion. We rape them. We humiliate them. And feel and take mighty pride and feel proud that we have defamed, we have humiliated women, we have raped women, and feel very happy in the name of religion. I mean, how can you justify this? Birth, birth is an accident. A child may get born, in a Hindu family or a Muslim family or a Christian family or a Buddhist family. But because you are not Muslims, you have a right to humiliate, molest, and rape Hindu women, or Hindus raping Muslim women. Can this be justified? This can never be justified. And these things, such things are happening, every day. And such cases were indiscriminate, during partition days. And during war period, when battles go on, these things become a matter of day. Every day's affair. How can you justify? Religions do not teach you to do all these things. And we derisively laugh at the cries of their pains. Our hearts insensate do not move into piety, into sympathy. They are also human beings. Rapists, they are also human beings. They also follow some faith. They laugh derisively. बहुत अच्छा किया, उसको ह्यूमिलिएट किया, उसका रेप किया. Well, our hearts, insensate, as if devoid of any feelings, do not move into piety, into sympathy. Whereas these women, the weaker sex, we say, should be pitied, should be sympathized with. We rape them. No Veda, no Bible, no Quran teaches us to be sullen and kill our fellow brothers to protect the religion. I hope you would have understood what I mean to say. No religions, no religions, no holy scripture teaches you to be sullen, to be unkind, to be ruthless, to kill your brothers and sisters, in the name of religion, that you are allowed to molest a girl. No religion teaches. But we keep on doing all these things after centuries of education and civilization and having so many religions, that we follow. We aren't ashamed to acquit ourselves and say we have done so in faith. A Muslim, for example, I give you one example. If a Muslim, rapes a Hindu or a Christian or a Buddhist girl, well, he feels very happy that he has demoralized a kafir girl or a kafir woman. And Quran does not teach you this. Quran or no religion teaches you this. And such people are not ashamed. They acquit themselves. They forgive themselves that they have done so in order to save their religion or for the sake of their religion. We haven't become any better, but remain stupefied in sad wonder, having seen the spectacles of tragedies acted passionately on the world's wide stage. So these things, acts of cruelty, acts of violence, acts of, demoralizing others, these things are happening, you see, around the world. Even after centuries of education, civilization, and religions abounding our world. We continue to flow the river of innocent blood that gets soaked in the dreary desert. That is our world. And when we do violence, when we shed blood, you know, the blood gets soaked in this world itself. And the river of innocent blood gets soaked in the dreary desert. That is our world. Our world has become like a dreary desert, dry desert, soaking the blood of innocent people that we keep on shedding shamelessly. And then the question arises in the mind. I tend to think, shall our world be a place poorer than what it is today, shorn of its diverse religions, which together have failed to make us creatures with any sound reasons? So the question mark, if suppose there are no religions in the world, which we have today, shall our world, shall our societies will be poorer? Because these religions, you know, the professed religions we have not been able to make us better creatures with any sound reasons, you know. Centuries of education, civilization, and so many religions we have, these have not helped us become better. So what kind of world we will have if suppose there are no religions? Shall we be better creatures? Well, a question. The barbs of hatred will surely lead us nowhere. Well, hatred, you know, a negative virtue, will definitely not take us to any better place, will not take us at all to a better society. The barbs of hatred will surely lead us nowhere. Then the only thing left from my point of view is, let us learn then to live in His grace and allow sanity a little space. Well, I remember Joan of Arc. Well, she declared that she was guided directly by God. And many things happened, you know. She won many battles, you see, against the English and got the Dauphin throned, you know, in France. But what happened to Joan of Arc later? For heresy, you know, she was burnt alive. And after 500 years or so, she was canonized and she was accepted as a saint. The drama Saint John, written by George Bernard Shaw, well, he concludes, "Oh God, when will this world be ready to receive saints? A saint like Joan of Arc." I also feel that we should give, all of us togetherly should give our reasonableness, our sanity, a little space, and then perhaps we will all be able to make a better society than we have today. The barbs of hatred will surely lead us nowhere. The weapons of war that we have collected, we have gathered, you know, will definitely take us nowhere. They are the agents of destruction. They are the forces of destruction, not construction. They can destroy, but not construct at all. So the barbs of hatred will surely lead us nowhere. Let us learn then to live in the grace of God and allow sanity a little space. Allow reasonableness a space in our life in order to make our society a better society. This is my humble submission. This is what I wanted to convey through this piece of writing. Thank you very much, Dr. Renuka Roy, that you have provided me this opportunity to share my views and ideas this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Today's session was truly phenomenal. And it is like having an interview of the creative writer himself and understanding the guiding force behind the creation of this poem. So it was really wonderful. Student friends, it was indeed a great privilege for all of us to have Dr. Navin, the poet of this beautiful poem, to shed light on the aspect pertaining this poem. Like the inspiration behind the conception of the idea while writing down this poem. This poem has successfully developed awareness among our students about the prevalent act of violence and brutality in the world around. Sir, in his lecture, has beautifully taken an account of yesteryear's happenings of war, battles, and partitions in the annals of history of human civilization. He has discussed the sayings in Bible, Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas that emphasize the ideal of universal brotherhood and tolerance and non-violence. He reminded us of our duty as a human being. God's will and his divine provision and his wish to see human being leading an honorable and peaceful life. He has made us aware of the abysmal condition of universe when it is sans love and tolerance, which is poignantly brought in his poem. He endorsed us to have feeling like compassion and pity for the victims of communal violence. And Sir has wonderfully projected his liberal stand of having a world without the evil aspect of religious fanaticism. Religion should be a medium of conferring grace on the humanity and not inducing hatred among the human being. This was the crux of his poem that he has very wonderfully elucidated in this session. I thank you, sir, for shedding light on this beautiful poem, and I assure you that student will definitely, positively get influenced from this beautiful poem. And this poem is highly relevant because nowadays students have become intolerant, violent due to addiction to the mobile phones, video games, etc. And they have become very narrow-minded. They do not see the happenings in the world around. So your session, which has given a kind of historical glimpse of all the happenings, adding to the pathetic condition of the world, is really valuable for us all. Thank you so much, sir. With this word, I wish to take leave of you, and with the permission of Dr. Panikal, Chairman of Languages, Board of Studies of Languages, Science and Technologies, Archer Nagpur University, Nagpur, I declare that today's session is over. Tomorrow, we will be meeting at 11 a.m. sharp with our new session. So the students are requested to be with us and subscribe the YouTube channel. Press the bell icon to receive the notification of coming sessions. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Should I leave then?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.